welcome back to the Crochet Cakes YouTube channel. I am so glad to have you back. And this week I thought we would chat a little bit about making a man's sweater. Or, you know, more specifically, making my husband's sweater. In order to do this, let's travel back to November of 2022. Hello there and welcome. I sit before you today with plans because, like any good crochet designer or fellow crafter or whatever you call yourself, I have procrastinated my Christmas gifts. If you've been following my Instagram or my YouTube for the past 2 years, I have crocheted a holiday, well, not a holiday sweater, but I've crocheted a sweater for my husband as a birthday or Christmas gift, whichever comes first. Last year just happened to be Three Kings Day gift because it did take me a while. So this year we planned ahead, at least in the yarn purchasing department. We've sourced that. Let's take a little peek into my husband's brain and see what he has requested for his yearly sweater. So my husband has requested what we fondly refer to as the Hoffman sweater. And if you do not know who James Hoffman is and you like coffee, then I will put his name and his YouTube channel linked down below. I myself am not a coffee drinker, but I do greatly enjoy his passion for coffee, and it also gives me some ideas for my tea brewing. Anyway, a couple of years back, or actually 2 years ago, I crocheted my husband's first sweater and he aptly named it the Hoffman sweater, and it just means it is a simple top-down raglan construction sweater. That's what he requested. If I find, I'll insert a picture of him modeling this sweater here. Anyway, I do have the sweater with me here. So as I said, it's black, so you won't be able to see many details, especially in this light, but it's a top-down raglan construction, all in the round and at the bottom hem, and for the cuffs and for the neckline it's got front post, back post stitching. So somewhere in the depths of my collection I will find the notes for that sweater. So my craft room is a little bit crowded because we had to move everything that was outside inside for the storm, so do pardon the mess. You know when I yelled victory because I found the notebook? Guess what? There is nothing written in here about my husband's Christmas sweater. So I have no idea where those notes are, so that means we are on our own. Anyway, I can share you the yarn that I bought at a local yarn shop. It is actually a quilting and yarn shop, which is exciting because, you know, fabrics and yarn all in one, vices. Anyway, it's a beautiful heathered green. So the yarn is a beautiful heathered green, and the heathers have like lighter shades of green, darker emerald forest greens, as well as even some like little splashes of yellow thrown in there. And it is Barocco Vintage, a machine washable blend, and the color is very aptly named Douglas Fir. 52% acrylic, 40% wool, 8% nylon. My husband picked the blend and it's very good that he did. It's very soft actually. In terms of construction, we already chatted that it's going to be a top-down raglan. Stitch counts and such, no idea. But stick with me as we cake up yarn and get started. Hi, so today is December 10th, or actually no, sorry, December 11th, and I have yet to crochet on my husband's sweater. So what I thought I'd do is show you where I'm at, and then show you at the end of the day what I have done, just to motivate myself. Hello, welcome back to today. I said I would keep you abreast of the situation, and the situation is thus. I crocheted 6 more rounds, and I wasn't liking the fabric. I should have known this. If I was going to be using split stitches, I should have definitely gone for a 6mm hook, but I decided to block it and see how I feel about it, so I'm still waiting for it to dry. But let me show you. So here we are. I promise time has passed. I am just wearing the same sweater because it's my cozy sweater. Anyway, I am here to tell you that I have not worked on my husband's sweater since we last spoke. I left it blocking. He said he quite liked the fabric, that it felt very cozy and warm. So I'm going to keep using my 5mm hook. See you when I've made some progress. Hello, I thought I would give you a little update. So half of a TL Yarn Crafts podcast later, and also a full Rachel Maxey video later. I have this much of the sleeve. So yeah, it's not very fast, but I am hoping the sleeves go by fast. But I'm hoping the sleeves go by faster because I'm just doing the normal extended single crochet stitch. I am not doing the split extended single crochet stitch. Also, I am using a 4mm hook for the sleeves, a Furls hook, which still gives me a looser tension than a normal 4mm hook. Also, you may have noticed that I am working on the sleeve, but the body is in no way finished, and I'm doing that on purpose. I decided to give myself the smaller task of working on the sleeve, which is just going around and around in extended single crochet, and leave the body, which is for the split stitches, for later. I'm just treating myself to some mindless crochet that doesn't require sunlight to be seen. Also, I have turned on my big light because it's the only way I can quite literally crochet on this sweater. But anyway, that is an update for today, January the 14th. Excuse me, I still have the COVID cough. So yeah, that is my update for January the 14th. You probably won't see me again until I'm at least done with one of the sleeves, but hey, that's just the nature of crochet. I'm not the world's fastest crocheter, and I do need to take breaks and stop and stretch, which I actually am going to do right now because I was 40 minutes straight crocheting, and that is my max. After 40 minutes straight of crochet, my arm just, it wants to drop off. So I'm going to go do my day 14th yoga journey day, and yeah, I will see you hopefully at the end of the weekend when I complete my sleeve, but let's face it, it'll probably be next week. Until then. Just as I finished recording, I set this down and it rolled off my desk. Yes, that is a broken crochet hook. Tears, okay? Cry with me for a little bit. Hello, today is January 16th, Monday, Martin Luther King Day. Yes, that is a backdrop behind me. I was trying to experiment to make a very nice backdrop that wasn't messy yarn, but as you can see, that is not tall enough. Anyway, what I am here to share with you is that yesterday I did indeed complete the sleeve. So over the weekend, I worked on the sleeve for my husband's sweater. And it is indeed complete. It fits him very nicely. As you can see, we started doing some slight decreasing towards right after the elbow, and it's even got a very nice cuff. And not only did I finish the sleeve, but I also started, well, I completed some short row shaping for the back of the neck, and I had enough yarn left over to do like 3 stitches of front post, back post trebles, which are going to be the end of the neckline. So yeah, one sleeve done, neckline partially complete, and I will now say good day until it is time for the next update. I think I already told you I don't know if I'm going to have enough yarn because the sleeve was 100 grams of yarn, and the body, I've already done 200 grams of yarn, and it's just now past his chest. So I am slightly concerned there. And we all know the travesty that was the lost crochet hook, or more like the broken pieces of my art somewhere in this room. I think that with that, I will see you when I've actually completed this sweater, and then we can discuss stitch counts and all of that good stuff that you probably are waiting to hear from me. So until I see you again, I just never know how to end these things. So I'll see you guys later. So it's been way more than a month since I last sat down to talk to you guys about my husband's sweater, or, you know, a man's sweater, but really it's more gender neutral than that. We'll get into that a little bit later on. But what I wanted to tell you is that there's been progress. Yes, there has been progress on this sweater, and it's almost complete. Like all of it. Ends, sleeves, everything. And I have one hank of yarn all caked up to be added to the bottom of the sweater, the very bottom. I'm going to be blocking it right after I share it with you guys so that I know how much of the rib I need to add, and if I'm going to have any yarn left over so that I can potentially add to the sleeves in case they don't block out like I expect them to. So at the very beginning of this video, I mentioned briefly the idea of what type of sweater I'd be crocheting for my husband. And we call it fondly this type of raglan, top-down raglan construction. We call it the Hoffman sweater because, as I mentioned, we just see James Hoffman, who's a very wise coffee person, wear this type of sweater a lot. He lives in England, so it makes complete sense that he owns various raglan sweaters. Whether or not they are homemade, I cannot answer that for you, but they're very nice sweaters all the same. So, as I said, I ended up doing a top-down raglan construction, and this was because I wanted something that was very potato chippy, that I really didn't have to think about. Once you start your stitches, you know where your increases are, you don't have to count. It was just something very simple. A simple crochet adventure, which I was craving. And it would have been a very simple crochet adventure, except that I decided, well, my husband is very fond of dark colors, so he picked out a dark evergreen, but it really is beautiful. It is more than just a green. We've got specks of gold and lighter greens, so it's a bit, the proper term would be heathery. It's a bit of a heathery evergreen, and as I mentioned, I'm using Barocco Vintage, which is a really nice blend of yarn. You know, after having worked a almost complete sweater with it, I have to say that this is a yarn that I would reach for again and again to crochet sweaters because it's really lovely to work with. How is it gonna pill? I'm hoping not too much, because if you see, there is a little bit of a halo to it, but I'm hoping that it won't pill too much. And I do not tend to wash my garments in the washing machine. I tend to either steam them to, you know, kill bacteria and such, put them in the freezer, or just hand wash lightly. So far, the very top of this raglan that I shared with you in the video, that's all that's been washed in this garment. So I paired this Barocco Vintage worsted weight yarn with a 5mm crochet hook. And even though it was a Furls Odyssey crochet hook, which unfortunately they're having a lot of supply problems with these specific hooks, so there are none available at their website, but it is a hook that I greatly enjoy using when I'm going to be working split stitches. And for some reason, the Clarissa of the past decided that she was going to work up this lovely yarn with a 5mm crochet hook and split extended single crochet stitches. Now, if you're familiar with split stitches or central stitches, you know that the idea is that you kind of like split the legs of the stitches, insert your hook, and pull up yarn. If you want a more detailed description of the hook that I use, then I will link my tutorial for the split extended single crochet in the description box below, as well as on top of the video where you see the eye. You click on it, it'll show you that video. And then you can click on it and see that video and then come back, because we're not done yet. I have many more details to share with you about this sweater. So for this sweater, I decided to start, as I said, top down with a 4.5mm hook because I tend to use foundation stitches to work up the beginning of my raglan rounds just for extra stretch, you know? It's like if you're knitting, it would be kind of like doing a tubular cast on in a way. So as I know that my tension is particularly loose when I do foundation stitches, I tend to go down a hook size. So I went down to a 4.5mm crochet hook to cast on 80 foundation single crochets. And if you're familiar with the raglan construction, I started with my 80 stitches, okay, and then I did a round of extended single crochets. Now I did extended single crochets. You know that with a raglan you increase on 4 points. So the first round I just did an extended single crochet, and then the second round is when I started doing the split extended single crochet stitches. Now in the written blog post I will include the exact way that I divided my raglan so that I could have equal number of stitches in the front, back, and the sides. And then I just worked in rounds, not joining in the round, until I reached 8.5 inches of length for my raglan. So you measure that diagonally, and when you measure that diagonally, that will give you your armhole depth. And then to join, I did 8 chains in order to join the front, and then to join I just did 8 chains in order to join the front to the back of the garment. And then you have split for your sleeves. You will now continue just working in the body. I will also include my gauge. I'm trying really hard to find the place where I wrote down all the notes for this sweater, but I can't seem to find that notebook. I honestly don't know what I did once again. So I have kind of like the after notes, like this is what I did, but I wrote this after the fact. What I didn't write after the fact is that since I was very slow at crocheting the split extended single crochet stitches, I decided to do my sleeves first and just do them in plain extended single crochet stitches. And that went by much faster. Now for the sleeves, I did use a 4mm crochet hook, not a 4.5 or a 5mm. I used a 4mm crochet hook to crochet the sleeves, picked up the stitches around the armhole, and in order to do that, I wanted to add some texture to like difference in texture between the body and the sleeves. So I actually crocheted the sleeves on the reverse so that the right side of the extended single crochet stitch would be facing out, and then the split extended single crochet would be, the inside of the split extended single crochet would be facing out, because I really like the waffly texture that the split extended single crochet produces on the wrong side. So even though we're working this garment right side out, I've intended it for it to be worn wrong side out. So I've been very careful with the way that I've hidden my ends and just tried to make this piece as entertaining for me as possible, because I will say that in any garment making process, I always reach a point where I just want to be done with it. And in that point, I usually have to set the garment aside and start a new project so that I feel that I have some relief from not the monotony, but just the overwhelm of, oh my God, look how much I've crocheted, I'm still not finished. And I'm always trying to hurry myself up, and I overwhelm myself by thinking this way, and I don't like it. So I usually tend to put the project aside, which is why it's actually taken me so long to crochet up this sweater. It is now February 15th, okay? And I'm still missing the bottom rib of the sweater. Now for the sleeves, I did do some shaping. I wanted to start picking up the stitches normally and then start decreasing little by little in certain sections, so that when I reach the arm section, the bottom of your arm, which is the skinniest part of your arm, I wouldn't have to do so many decreases. So like I said, the specific decreases that I did will be in the blog post that I am writing for this project, and you can find that in the description box below. So as of right now, this sweater, without blocking, from the top of the neck, center neckline, all the way to the bottom measures 21.75 inches. And as I said, that is without blocking and without the bottom rib, because the top of our sweater does have a rib. Now for this raglan sweater, if you're familiar with raglan construction, again, you might have noticed that when you crochet a raglan sweater, it tends to kind of choke you and pull the front all the way to the back, because the back of our neck is longer than the front of our neck. I mentioned this in the monthly sweater video tutorial, which if you're interested, I will also link that in the top here or in the description box below. That is a sweater pattern that it kind of goes into detail from where you measure a garment to the front of your neck down, and from the back of your neck it's a little bit higher. I would say probably two inches higher, because when you're measuring the front of your neck, you start from the clavicle down typically. So in order to avoid that little bit of choking hazard, I decided to do some short rows, and I will include my video explaining short rows here as well. If you're interested in what those are and how you can use them, then that is definitely a video that you guys should check out. But anyway, I included short rows in the back of this garment, and I actually included them after the fact. I am finding that I much prefer to include short rows after I've made my neckline than before. And also it kind of gives people a little bit of freedom, right? So if you're a crafter and you don't like working short rows, then adding the short rows after we've already crocheted our neckline is a very good thing, I feel. It gives you that autonomy about whether or not you want to add short rows, whether or not that's something you need, etc. So yeah, in that video that I mentioned, you will find all your short row needs met, hopefully. Either way, I went with short rows, and then I just did 3 rounds of front post, back post, rib, which is honestly might be an unpopular opinion, but that's one of my favorite crochet ribs. It is the front post, back post. I am very aware that or at least I don't like how it looks in crochet socks actually. So for crochet socks, I tend to go with the single crochet back loop only rib done in the round, but yeah, well, seamed in the round. But yeah, so the front post, back post rib is one of my favorite ribs to include in garments. That's also the rib that you will find at the end of the sleeves in the sweater, and it's also the rib that I'm gonna do at the bottom. So I think I'm going for a 23 inches of body and then 2 inches of rib, which would make a 25-inch sweater, which I think is plenty for my husband. My husband tends to like longer sweaters. So in terms of measurements, let's chat. So this sweater, I was wrong when I said it was 22 inches. I wasn't looking at the tape measure correctly, but measured from the top of the neckline in the front, which would be the clavicle, all the way down, it is 21 inches long. And this is, of course, before blocking and before adding our rib. I still have one more ball of yarn to play with, and the width is 22 inches flat, which is 44 inches around, and it gives my husband just, I think, a classic fit. I think he would have preferred 2 inches or more of positive ease. Pause for a snack break while my husband makes his coffee, and then we can get back to chatting about crochet. So go grab your drink, grab your snack of choice, and then come back. We're back from our snack break. My husband has his coffee. We're all good to go. If only I remembered where we left off. Hopefully you guys got to see some of the intricacies of this sweater on that video, because as I mentioned, I've been playing a lot around with my camera settings, trying to get some really good apertures and shutter speeds going so that I can get the most out of my camera. And it's been an uphill climb. It really has. Not because of my camera, but because the reason I never fully got into photography was because I didn't have the patience of setting up my shots in terms of what's my white balance supposed to be, what's my ISO supposed to be, where's my shutter speed at, how does that go with my aperture, you know, just photography stuff. Anyway, I think it got really dark now, so I'm gonna hurry this along. There's a cloud on top of my sun. So the only thing I had left to share with you was my my gauge. So for the neckline, it measures 7.5 inches flat, which is, you know, is pretty standard. It is a very stretchy neckline, so it doesn't choke him in any way, and I think it's actually a very good neckline, if I do say so myself. The width after splitting for the sleeves, in which I added a total of 16 stitches because I added 8 stitches for the underarm on either side of the raglan sweater. That is 22 inches, and my gauge is 12 by 12. So it's 12 rounds times 12 stitches in 4 inches, done with a 5mm crochet hook and worsted weight yarn. In, of course, split extended single crochets. Now, my gauge for the sleeve is obviously going to be different because I used extended single crochets and I used a 4mm crochet hook, which you already saw broke, so I had to switch to just a normal clover 4mm crochet hook. So in terms of what I practiced with this sweater, I practiced switching my stitch counts for raglans and how to divide my stitches equally. I practiced how to do short row shaping once more. I think that's a skill that I really want to get into, not just for increasing the height of the neck, but also for adding nice little details in patterns. But that's in the future. For now, let's master adding height to the neck using short rows. And I also definitely learned to trust the process, because my instinct whenever I split for the sleeves is actually to decrease and kind of tuck the garment in, which is not always a look that you want. So this sweater fits my husband really, really nicely. In fact, he did mention he would have liked it to be a little bit on the wider side, for which I would have just had to do a longer raglan or raglan yoke, or just increased stitches after I split for the sleeves. I didn't do that because it looked really big, so I just went straight down. As I've said, I've used a total of 600 grams of yarn, like full 600 grams of yarn. There's nothing left. And I still have a 7th ball here, which is 100 grams. So I have a total of 700 grams for this garment. I really do think I am going to use it almost completely. Like, I do not foresee having much of the yarn left over. So in terms of things that I would change, I want to say that I would definitely change the stitch that I chose for this garment, but then again, I really did enjoy how it looked on the reverse. I really think it looks like a waffle stitch, but without the bulkiness of the front post stitches that are typically used to create a waffle grid. So I'm very happy overall with the design of this sweater. It was very easy to work up. It is very easy to alter. You could probably start crocheting with the same number of stitches that I did, because this sweater does fit me as well in terms of the neckline. At least the width is a little bit too long. The sleeves could be longer, which is also the case for my husband, but I am hoping that once I block them, the sleeves will fit him, and if not, I will just add a longer cuff. I'm not going to rip back. And yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and block this garment. Hopefully by the time I edit the video, I will have finished it and I can include some finished shots for you guys to enjoy. So thank you so much for being here with me today. I greatly appreciate you joining me for a little bit of crafty time. I hope this video was inspiring, helpful, or just plain old entertaining. Maybe you needed the company, and I am glad to have provided it. So if you like the content that I produce, then please give me a thumbs up. It lets YouTube know that you like these types of videos, and it also lets me know that you like this type of videos. And of course, if you like my content, you can consider donating to my Ko-fi. The link is in the description box below. Let's just call it a little tip jar. Thank you so much to the people that have already bought the monthly sweater pattern. I am very, very thankful for you. If you were trying to purchase it on Ravelry, I have fixed the fact that I didn't activate it after I updated the pattern. and you should all be good to go. So that is it from me, guys, today. Thank you so much for joining me for this crafty video. I hope to have kept you company and have inspired some more makes for you to just dive into maybe your own raglan experiments, and maybe you want to use the split extended single crochet stitch, maybe not. It is a bit of a slower stitch, or at least it was for me. So that is it, my crafty friends. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey today. I always learn a lot from making sweaters for my husband, mostly patience. They are an exercise in patience and also a commitment, which I'm not afraid of, but I do sometimes want to hurry along. I hope to have kept you company for some of your day. If you like this video, then consider giving me a thumbs up. If you've subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. If you always comment, I am especially grateful to you as well. And if you want to consider subscribing, then do so. It is the best way to know when I have new videos coming out. And also, if you like my content, you can consider donating to my Ko-fi page. The link is in the description box below. Remember that if you do donate, leave a comment and I will read it out loud in my videos. So for now, for the month of February, that is it, my loves. I will see you in March with a pre-recorded video. Happy crafting. The reveal. So even though the sweater is not complete, I thought I would share some pictures with you of how it looks on my husband and then how it looks on me. Don't forget to check out the written blog post for more detailed instructions, and I will see you again soon. Goodbye.